Hey folks, Blizzard, welcome back to another Poem Master video, and finally we got Sygna Suit Cynthia and Kommo-o, actually, Kommo-o, dropping tonight. So yeah, as usual, let's go over the unit and you know, talk about the banner, all that stuff. So as for the unit, it's Sygna Suit Cynthia, it's 5-star, special striker, actually, dragon type, weak to fairy. It's male, right? And as for the stats, HP is not that great. Attack's fine. Defenses are good for a striker. Special attacks really good, right? Speed's really bad. Speed 185 speed's really bad. As for some other stuff, the moves, right? It's got Dragon Breath, which has moderate chance of paralyzing. X special attack, Clanging Scales, which is another 4-gauge move, right? 4-gauge move, 176 power, lowers the user's defense, and it's an AoE. So Clanging Scales, obviously very, very powerful, and that's probably why they gave her so many defenses for a striker, maybe because of Clanging Scales. Anyways, as for some other stuff, Eyes on the Prize, reduces user sync move countdown by up to 3 based on how low their HP is, raises users crit rate, by up to 3 stat ranks based on how low their HP is, right? So this could potentially be very, very powerful, you know, especially in certain scenarios. Like, basically, like, Sygna Cynthia is built for Battle Villa. Sygna Cynthia is incredibly powerful in Battle Villa, right? As for some other stuff, and I'll go explain why in detail in a bit. Sync move, History Maker, Clanging Scales, no additional effect, 250 power, special dragon, pretty standard. Passive skills, High Five 1, raise user's attack, defense, special defense, and speed after a sync move. Head Start 1, reduces sync move countdown by 1 when the Pokemon enters the battle for the first time. Stamina Reserve 6, once per battle, charges the user's move gauge by 6 when the user is a pinch. So this unit, as you can see, it's basically built for Battle Villa, right? Its sync move, the +1 to like all these stats, means you don't have to waste, you know, or use any MP in a lot of Battle Villa stages. Same thing with Eyes on the Prize, also made for Battle Villa, because you know, your HP carries over between stages, because there's almost, I wouldn't say no point, but it's not that great if you use Eyes on the Prize when the stage first starts. You're at max HP, right? However, in Battle Villa, you enter stages with lower HP because your HP carries over from each stage. So that's why Eyes on the Prize is so powerful for Villa, right? And basically what Kommo-o is doing is you're rushing your sync move as fast as possible so you could get the high five off. You got a head start, you got Eyes on the Prize, and once you get your sync move off, you get like stat boost from again high five, and obviously the sync 1.5 multiplier as well. So this is very, very powerful. Again, AoE 4-gauge move, like, you know, for those who don't know, AoE moves do more damage in general. Obviously, it doesn't mean it's better than single targets. They have very different uses and play styles, but this is our first 4-gauge AoE move, so that's really powerful. Again, it's Dragon type. So as for the Synchrid, let's go over the, oh, that's an Onyx. Let's go over the Synchrid real quick as well. If I could find it. There it is. And the Synchrid's really, really good. So it has a lot of really strong stuff in here. Paralysis Synergy too. Extra straight up 20% damage when the opponent is paralyzed. And paralyzed is one of the easiest statuses to get on the opponent. As Clanging Scales Unhindered, ignores damage reducing effects on the opponent's field of play when you're using Unhindered. And despite its very, very low speed, you have 2 MGR3s on Clanging Scales. So that will definitely help the low speed issue a lot, right? And then obviously you have Clanging Scale power-ups. You got some like weather stuff, Snow Shelter as well, Sand Shelter, and even more powerful is you got the second High Five 1. So that basically gives you High Five 2. So every time you use your sync move, it's basically you're doing 250 damage on the sync move, and you're also getting the High Five 1 in, or High Five 2 in, which is basically a sharply raise on all these stats, which is kind of like a Eevee's sync move, except for only yourself. And and also you're doing massive damage on it as well, right? So this thing's sync move is incredibly powerful. Got some other stuff that you're running on Kommo-o to try to get its sync move up as well. Adrenaline 1 reduces sync move countdown by 1 when a sync move is used for the first time. Oh, you also have hostile environment for Dragon Breath to increase chances on paralyzing. All of this is kind of pointless. If you're trying to like run paralysis on Kommo-o, just like run like Meowstic or something else, Vileplume that paralyzes instead. Yeah, some other stuff on the ropes 5. Static Shock 5, extra 3% on the sync move when the opponent's paralyzed. Last Dash 4, so Eyes on the Prize MP Refresh, which costs 12 energy, which makes sense because, it's a very powerful trainer move. Although I still think it's like slightly overpriced. But oh well, it is what it is. It's good. It's good. So yeah, Cynthia Kommo-o, definitely very, very powerful. It's among, the hardest hitting units in the game when it gets released. And for very good reasons, right? Very good reasons. We don't get too many 4-gauge, units too often, right? Got like 3 in the game so far, I think. Dragonite with Hyper Beam, Sygna Red and Charizard with Blathorn, and then now Kommo-o and Cynthia with Clanking Scales. So as for the unit, again, like I mentioned before, very, very powerful. There are some downsides to it, right? The speed being one. Speed's definitely an issue. Its physical defense could also potentially be an issue, right? But again, speed's not an issue if you run Skyla, which everyone should be running Skyla on their team, right? For almost anything. Just because Skyla is so powerful, right? Which also does slightly help the defense issue as well with Cynthia, right? If you're running Skyla. So there's definitely that. So again, in general, very powerful unit. Has some downsides, but generally not a huge deal. But yeah, as for the banner, right, it is going to be a POKEFAIR, so there's that. However, in terms of if you should summon on this banner or not, there are a few things to consider. First thing is, well, before considering any of that, like if Cynthia's your favorite, if you just love Cynthia, right, or Kommo-o, obviously as usual, just go for your favorite characters. You really don't need to summon for anything to beat any content of the game, really. But yeah, if she's your favorite, just go for it. But if you do want to consider some other stuff, right? And also, even if she is your favorite character, do keep in mind that very, very soon we should be getting the next developer letter, which will talk about the first year anniversary stuff. So even if you are going, even if you're 100% certain you're going to summon on this banner, at least wait for the dev letter, right, before summoning. Check out what's in that, right, and then decide, right. So that's one thing to decide. The other factor is it is a POKEFAIR, so you do have higher rates of getting like non-Cynthia 5-stars. So you'll have your chance of getting Cynthia is still the same, but your chance of getting other stuff like whatever other 5-stars are increased by 3%. So there's that as well. Against POKEFAIRs generally are a good banner to use gems on, but again, there are other things to consider. The other thing is Sygna Cynthia, very, very good. However, it is dragon type, and it's special, right? It's special dragon. But if you're just if you don't worry too much about the physical special split issue, right? Haxorus is already incredibly powerful. Right? Haxorus, it's no Sygna Suit Cynthia, right? But Haxorus is very, very powerful and also very suited for Battleville as well. So like it's just not like a huge deal if you don't get her, right? I mean, it's not a huge deal if you don't get any, of the banner, summonable units in the game. You could beat everything in the game with just free-to-play units, right? But yeah, that's also something else to consider, I guess. It's just because Haxorus is so like powerful. If you like change any other types, it's like not as it's not as huge of a difference that you could see. And yeah, those are basically the things that you do want to consider. One more thing is Lance's banner is coming soon as well. Lance banner's rerun. If you want me to compare Lance and Sygna Suit Cynthia, right? Sygna Suit Cynthia is just much better for Battleville, right? Which is generally, the hardest content, as people say, or whatever. I personally don't think it's the hardest content, but that's kind of the end game so far. But yeah, Sygna Suit Cynthia is way better than Lance in that. Lance does have more utility because Lance does have potion with the potion MP refresh and stuff. So it really depends on what you're trying to go for. Lance needs support. And Cynthia does have some other things that it could fix in terms of stat buffs and stuff on stuff. Like it literally doesn't like you just sync move and gain stats, right? It's very very powerful in that respect. So yeah, just again, if you want Lance, keep in mind Lance is coming soon. If you want Cynthia, then it's again, it's just personal preference. Both are really really good. So there's that. Don't have to worry too much about comparing these two. They do different jobs. One's AOE, one single target, upsides, downsides. Single target upsides, you could focus down units quicker. And AOE upsides is AOE just does more damage straight up, right? Although it is different because the base power issue, right? Let's see. Does it do more than hyper? Oh yeah, it does more than hyper beam. But yeah, anyways, that's me with this one, I guess. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, do keep in mind anniversary stuff. We will be getting dev letters soon, which will detail that. Even if you're summoning on Cynthia, just wait and see what happens first before going all in. So yeah, again, hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know guys think in the comments down below. I personally will be summoning this tonight when it drops. So stay tuned with that. We'll be going live for that, hopefully, if everything works out well on my end. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.